But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys. Fatty, Big Bri, and my cousin Vinny.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the month of September and another episode of Illegal Ham in the Face. I am that fat guy, Jared Fatty Bates. I got my Big Bri here on the other side. And we got a big show for you today. We are going to get our NFL preview show. We're going to have Brad Ward from the Browns Wire and the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast joining us to talk about week one with the Browns versus Carolina. We're going to get into our top three college football traditions that we like, growing up or now that we kind of enjoy seeing throughout the college football year. And then for our Fat Boy Tuesday, thanks to Isaac Rochelle, even though Notre Dame lost, he came up with a great topic, Are Pancakes Bread? And we'll get into that later because Brian put out a Twitter poll, and that thing blew up. I mean, Brian, it blew up. There was conversations being had, and they were like, are pancakes better with sausage or bacon? And then it just kind of snowballed. It snowballed from there, and it was just holy cow. So let's get into our show. We got to first thank our sponsor. We got to thank Harold Keel and the Lake Erie APA. He's hooking us up with some stuff for our Illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League. We are going to have the winner get a bottle of Cleveland Underground whiskey, a hoodie from Lake Erie APA, along with a hat, a $25 gift card to Mr. B's. And if you should happen to come into second place, you will get another $25 gift card to Mr. B's and a Lake Erie APA t-shirt. All thanks to our sponsor, Harold Keel from Lake Erie APA. And we might throw in a little bonus because he's in the league. We might throw in a little prize that if you beat Harold in fantasy football, you might get a little something on the side. So We'll see how it goes. Let everybody know our draft is tomorrow at 8 p.m., correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right. So all emails are sent. Everybody knows. Log in. 8 p.m. Let's go. So
other than that, let me just give a quick reminder that it is a super flex league.
Yes.
I'll probably send out a text, or maybe you can text some people. I can text some people, but just so you know, it is a super flex league if you're listening to this, because that kind of changes up strategies for some people a little bit. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
Nope, that's perfect because that means two quarterbacks can play. So that's the reason why he's telling you this. So you can have wide receiver, tight end, running back, or a quarterback in that spot. So yes, you can play two QBs. Sure. So they go quick. We just had the Brad Ward is doing the podcast versus podcast league, and we were in it. Bri, we got to pick first out of the league, and I took Josh Allen right out of the gate. I got my quarterback, and I took him. And then when we came back on the second side, I got Stephon Diggs, and I got Javonte Williams. So I got a top running back and a top wide receiver too on the next one through. Now
it was a super flex league.
It's a super flex league.
Super flex league.
Yes, there is no defense or kicker, Brian.
Okay, I like that.
League is quarterback, two flexes, and a super flex.
Huh. So you only play four guys.
No. We
Wow.
play like you got the 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2
Oh,
flexes,
okay.
a super flex, and a quarterback. So it's going to get
I
crazy.
gotcha.
And there was a
Okay.
lot of crap talking during this because
Sure.
somebody started sniping off people that some other people wanted. Like Brad, I think really wanted Baker Mayfield, but I sniped him up, and I sniped up Ryan Tannehill too. So our quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Tannehill, and Baker, and then we
Not
got
bad.
Brees Hall, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, and Raheem Mostert as our running backs.
Nice.
And then our wide receivers, we got a couple rookies. Alec Pierce is one of our wide receivers on Indy.
Sure. Up and comer.
So we got a couple, and then our tight end, Cole Kmet.
He's gonna do well this year. Yeah, look out for him.
I think we got a good team. I was supposed to come up with trivia, and I think I do have a trivia. Let me check.
Awesome.
I gotta check my gallery here though, because I got screenshots. But Bri, do you have any?
That's what I do. Yeah, sure. Let me quickly shout out. I went up to my brother's house to see it for the first time this past weekend. He moved to Chicago, as I mentioned, about a month and a half ago. So got to go visit him, visit his family. Also got to see my Uncle John, my Aunt Angela, and just spend some quality family time. So both my brother and my uncle said they've been shouting out the illegal ham to the face out in Chicago. So greatly appreciate that. I got a draft with both of them here in about an hour. So so really looking forward to that. And let's see, I did have another shout out too. And I just can't think of it. So if it comes to me, I'll let you know. If not, I'll save it for next week.
Okay. I got a shout out. Right now, I got to shout out Hall's Tree Service. They came and just tore apart my house. I had a tree fall in the garage. So they came out and clipped up the tree, got everything cleaned up for us, which is greatly appreciated. Got to shout out my kids because Mama got COVID on Tuesday. And I had to be super dad, and they were absolutely amazing helping out around the house, helping clean. So my boys, Alex and Charlie, thank you guys so much for helping out. And then
Hope doing well.
Hope's doing well. And then a very special shout out, Bri, because Monday was one of our friends' special birthday. Jose Cato.
That's what I forgot.
Jose Cato's birthday was on Monday. He had a great Monday. He took off Sunday, took off Monday, took off Tuesday. So he's doing great right now. He's enjoying life. Just it was the flu. And that's what he just said. It was the flu. I'm about to throw this right now.
Sure.
Yeah, it was just
58-year-old flu.
Yeah, it was just the flu where I had to miss work. Yeah.
That reminds me. Yeah, I was going to shout out Jose and also our former buddy. Well, not former buddy. Our buddy, former coworker, and the preacher man Jeff had a birthday.
That's right.
I think him and Jose share a birthday. So that was yesterday, and then my buddy Mark has a birthday today. So yeah, kind of a busy season for birthdays.
All right. Well, Bri, do you want to get into our trivia before I bring in our guest?
Let's do it.
All right, let me go over here because I'm doing everything quickly, and I don't know. And our trivia is brought to you by Papa V and Curb Appeal. Get a hold of Papa V at curbappeal419.com. All right, Brian. I looked over this list, all right? I got this list, and I can't remember who I got it from, but these are the most unbreakable sports records ever, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to throw one person at you, and it blows my mind about this man. Nolan Ryan holds the record for a career no hitters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me that number?
I got one number that's sticking out. We'll see if it's correct.
All right. It blew my mind because they got Gretzky on here. They got two Gretzkys, DiMaggio, Wilt Chamberlain, Tiger Woods is another one on here, which I might come piggyback that when we come back to the Masters.
Sure.
Ripken, Ricky Henderson, Celtics, UConn women's basketball, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a Fernando Tatis. It's senior. Has
hitting a grand slam on both sides of the plate or something, was it?
It was 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's doing that anytime soon.
Whenever we talk about unbreakable records, and my mind goes to one that's, I mean, people don't even talk about it just because they all assume that it'll never even become close to being touched. It's Ty Cobb, 511 wins, I believe. And I mean, now it's a big deal if somebody gets 250 wins. Oh,
Cy Young.
Cy Young. I knew it. I knew it was a TY or a CY. Yeah, it didn't sound right coming out, but yeah, Cy Young. There you go.
All right, here we go. Let's bring in our special guest before we get into our Cleveland headlines. Let's bring in the man from All Eyes on Cleveland and the Browns Wire, Mr. Brad Ward's joining us. What's going on, sir?
What's poppin', gentlemen?
What's
How we
up?
doing?
How's it going? Good.
Bry.
Yes,
Fatty,
sir.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
How you feeling? You had about the vid over the week.
Yeah, it's still testing positive.
Sorry, bud.
Not feeling 100%, but better than I was. It felt like it kicked my ass at first. I mean, like, I was driving home from work, and I was like, oh, I just thought I had, like, a throat thing, you know? And I was driving home, and I was like, oh, my God, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, I crawled into my bed and just curled up in a ball, and my wife's, like, looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, just like, you're such a baby, right? Like, you know, women are like, God, you're such a baby. What's wrong with you? I'm like, something is not right. And then later on, positive. So, this is my first bout with the old COVID. So,
it's very true when they say that women look at us and when we get sick, we are a bunch of babies. We really are.
Yeah.
I know I am too. Because once I'm sick, I am down for like 3 days. It's like, don't touch me, don't look at me, just get away. Just bring me soup, and I'm good.
Yeah, it just felt like the flu. You know, it really did. Just felt like the flu. So didn't lose taste, nothing like that. So I guess this version is just like body aches and a fever and the flu, kind of like the flu. That's it. So not too bad. It's lingering, though, a little bit longer than I'd like it to.
Well, Brad, you were here for a special little bit with us because we got to talk some Cleveland headlines in Browns' first week. And then Brian and I are going to take over for our NFL preview. But I want to bring this up because Brian and I are going to start doing this from every week. I got to add music to it, but I think the video is pretty good. So let's get into our Cleveland headlines. And there we go. Just a little quick blurb of that. So our Cleveland headlines this week, we got the Indians won last night, and I think it was like 10 or 11 innings, which was
Guardians.
Guardians. I'm sorry. It's still hard for me. It's still hard.
It's very hard. I do it all the time. Gardos.
They're
Gardos.
still in place.
Yeah.
Also, the Cavs made a historic trade getting Donovan Mitchell. They gave up Markkanen, they gave up Sexton, they gave up Obaji. I think I said it right this time.
Yeah.
Or not Okoro. Yeah, you're right.
Obaji. And then they swapped some first-round picks and all this stuff. But, you know, those are the two big things that are going into Cleveland headlines. What's the third one?
No, 3 first-round picks. And they swapped a couple.
Wow, okay. I did not see that one. But I want to get your guys' take real quick on the Gardos still in first place, still hanging strong with about a couple weeks left of baseball, I think it is, 3 weeks left of baseball. And the Donovan Mitchell trade, because that is definitely a huge trade for Cleveland. I mean, that puts Cleveland right on the map in the Eastern Conference, and I really think that makes them contenders. That makes them a top 5 team in the East. So, what do you guys think about those? Let's go with Brad first, and then Brad will come back to you.
Yeah, man. So the Gardos, I love the Gardos, man. The Gardos, what, the youngest team in baseball? Cleveland has like the youngest team in football, youngest team in baseball, and maybe the youngest team in the NBA too. I don't know. So it's something
Wow.
crazy like that. But either way, uh,
Oh no, these are just everybody's talking about the flu. You don't need to.
oh no, I like to pay attention to the chat. It's okay. The Gardos. I think this is Tito's best job ever. They really are. They don't have the talent, like crazy talent, but they are very, putting together runs. They win a lot of close games, sacrificing runs, winning in big spots. I never would have thought they would be where they are. The pitching has kind of stepped up. Plesac's an idiot. What did he do? Punch the ground or something to break his hand? Come on. And then, so I think the Gardos can win, right? Like Minnesota's hot right now. They won a bunch in a row. If we can kind of fend them off on this run right here, I think they'll be all right. The bullpen is so nice. I would love to see them win the division, not have to play in the wild card round, right? So that's kind of what. If they could even get in the wild card, because the division is not elite.
Yeah.
Sure.
But they're still right there either way. And so, I'm watching them every night now. So, big Gardos fan. And then Donovan Mitchell, I didn't think they could acquire him without giving up one of their big 3. They did that. So kudos to Kobe Altman. That's huge. Donovan Mitchell, I'm a huge fan, have been a huge fan of his in Utah. I worry about, like, when you have 2 undersized guards, so undersized point guard, undersized shooting guard now, right? And you gave up, and I would have made the trade, obviously, right? But I worry about their wing shooting. Like, they need more shooters on the wing. They need a 3-and-D guy. I think they're a legit 3-and-D guy away from being like a contender in the East. Like, so can Okoro become that? I don't know. But like Abaji, I thought could be that. Now they had to give him up in the trade. So, a veteran even would be fine. Like, I don't know what they can work, trade deadline, if they try to make a move then. But I think they need to look for more shooting, because you're going to get so much penetration from Mitchell and everybody out there, right? Like, so, and they are going to have to need somebody to kick it to that can hit the shot. Kevin Love's still on the team, but more of just a spot-up shooter. Okoro, very good on defense. If he could just get his shot together, that would be huge for the Cavs. But I think they're a wing away.
All right, Brian, how about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off the Cavs, and then we'll get to the Guardians. I have mixed feelings about the Donovan Mitchell trade. Obviously, if you get a chance to acquire I think we can probably all agree he's like a top 20-ish player in the league. Maybe some people are higher on him than that. So as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, that's not really an option every single offseason. We're not going to get the big name free agents. So in order for us to get an all-star type player, we have to either draft him or trade for him. And so they paid a lot for him. I worry that it's really going to diminish our bench. We have Kevin Love and not much else. Chetty, I guess. Hopefully he can step up. Maybe they get Rondo or Rubio back, but those are old guys that are on the back nines of their career. So really, you're counting on your studs. You're counting on Garland. You're counting on Mitchell. You're counting on Mobley. Those are the guys that have to be on every single night, because 2/5 of your starting 5 are not really scorers. Jared Allen's, he can dunk it and he can finish around the rim, and Okoro, he can go scoreless some nights. So it's really putting a lot of pressure on Mitchell, on Garland, and on Mobley. But we'll see. You just hope that they can overcome what they gave up. I'm with Brad. I don't love the fact that all we've talked about for the last couple of years is, well, you got Garland and Sexton, and they're both undersized guards. And once again, even after this trade, we have a couple of undersized guards. I mean, if he was 6'5", 6'6", I'd say it was a no-brainer. It was a slam dunk, no doubt about it, trade. But it gives me a little concern with him being a little bit smaller. So we'll see. It's exciting, certainly. If you want to get excited about Donovan Mitchell, just go look at his highlight reel, and you can get excited pretty quick. About the Guardians, it was a rough week for them, but we've known for a while that this team is young, that this team is going to be up and down. Brad was saying how great the bullpen is, and they certainly have kind of carried us. What's maybe most surprising to me is that we've had this success in our starting pitching has not been great. The bats have carried us some days, but other times they've really faltered. And let's hope they still have plenty of time. We still have a couple weeks left before the end of the season, before playoffs get going. So, we can come back here next Tuesday and talk about what a great run they've been on, or, in 2 weeks they could be just on a tear. So we're still far enough out to where they can get their stuff together, and hopefully we can get into a series and not just one game playing.
All right.
Yeah, once you get in, anything can happen in baseball. So it's all about just getting in the dance, right? Like you get in with pitching, bullpen, you get a break here, a break there. Anything can happen. Somebody was asking in the chat about wings available. There's not much out there right now.
Well, I figured they would come after one of the veterans that might want to, trade for. I mean, they could still trade and grab a older veteran that can actually, shoot from the outside, like we did with Kyle Korver, like we did with, set up for LeBron. So, I mean, we could still get that guy, but,
I think they may start LeVert at the 3.
No, they might. I mean, that would be okay with me. But I mean, what I would do, honestly, is I would stick Okoro's ass right in the corner, right there on the bench, and say, guess what, buddy? You keep shooting shots, and you're not leaving this spot for a very long time. You're going to be shooting right here the entire time.
He's so valuable because he takes away, he takes the responsibility off of Garland and Mitchell, whoever else, of guarding the opponent's best player every night. And so Okoro is so valuable that way. There's nothing here. Jakar Sampson, Nicolo Melli, he was on the Mavs, Alfonso McKinney. None of these guys are real good shooters, These are more 4s even. So maybe they start. I mean, they have Rubio. I think their bench will be okay, right?
Yeah.
They have Rubio. They have who did I just say that they're going to start at the 3?
LeVert. They got Love. They got Oh God, who is the other center that they picked up? That's old.
Lopez? Did they pick up Lopez?
Yeah, they picked up a Lopez. I don't know which one, but they picked up a Lopez. But
okay.
Robin, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, boys, guess what? It's football time. It's here. We just had college football all weekend. I watched college football on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but now it's time for the NFL. And your Brownies play on Sunday against a formidable person that used to be here, Baker Mayfield and Carolina Panthers. Let's get into our week 1 preview with the Carolina Panthers. Now, the first question I got to ask both of you, okay, because I've been kind of in and out with work and everything else. Have we signed a wide receiver at all? I saw we picked up a quarterback. I saw we picked up a tackle.
Yeah.
Have we
tight
signed
end?
And a tight end? Yes, we did pick up another tight end. We haven't picked up another wide receiver, though.
No. This is your wide receiver room.
Are they delusional, or do they just not see it, or do they just not care?
My assumption is that they look at Felton as a wide receiver, so that makes 6. right? They look at Woods as a guy that they drafted. They like how explosive he is. I'll preface this by saying I don't agree with what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to, justify what the Browns are thinking.
because
I think, you know,
watching
Cooper.
preseason, it's been a glaring hole that you have a hole at wide receiver, and everybody's like, "Well, Cooper isn't playing, Chubb isn't playing, Hunt's not playing." Doesn't mean shit. You still got to complete passes, and you should be able to complete at least a pass to your number 2, your number 3, and number 4. I don't know why we cannot seem to get a passing game going with this team, and it's going to be our Achilles heel all for this year, I believe, until Deshaun shows up, and that is if Deshaun's right. But this, I said it last week. I mean, this passing game scares me right now because when you get to 3rd and 7 and you need a first down, what are they going to do? Like, who are they going to go to? Cooper might be double teamed, and they might have to go hard on the other wide receivers and trust them. And right now, the trust is kind of like,
Yeah, Schwartz has to be, as far as I'm concerned, like they made the decision not to cut him, but he needs to be pushed down the depth chart. And like, I heard Grossi say that, and I'm like, for who though? Like, and at the time, Woods was hurt, right? So, I didn't realize that he was ready to come back right away, and he's going to be ready for week 1 and everything. So that's a good thing, and it's a lot of hoping and wishing in that room, right? You're like, okay, we've got Cooper, great. We've got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was very efficient last year, but you hope he can take on more volume and produce at that same efficiency level, right? And become a wide receiver, a legit wide receiver too. You hope that. You hope that David Bell becomes a dynamic slot guy. You hope that Felton can fill in there and bring you some playmaking ability and some big hitter ability. You hope that Woods can, as a rookie, contribute if you get some guys dinged up, right? You hope that Schwartz can stretch the field, but like he hasn't been able to show the ability to catch the ball yet, or even utilize his speed on the field. So it's a lot of hoping right now, and that's scary, especially when it's Brissett. Like I look at this team, and I used to say like 2 through 53. They're super talented, but it's almost like they're super talented except for, and they're still talented at wide receiver. They're just not proven, right? And I think they made a huge mistake. You don't go this far with a roster and go through all the things that the Browns have done this offseason and taken all the heat that they've taken to get here and come up just a couple players short of finishing the roster. It feels incomplete in the wide receiver room. And that bothers me. It's very bothersome. And I worry about that big time. Are any of these guys going to be able to get separation? Maybe they see something we don't. I like Andrew Berry. I like Kevin Stefanski. I think that I will say this. Stefanski schemed guys open a lot last year, and Baker just didn't throw him the ball. So, like, maybe he can do the same thing for this team. Maybe that's what they're depending on. But, yeah, I'm surprised, too. Like, I was watching the cut list. I had every day crossing guys' names off, writing them down, thinking this guy, that guy. Tyler Johnson became available. He got picked up, I think, before the Browns would have been able to claim him. He was one of the guys I had on the list. The guy from Kansas City went to Las Vegas and got cut, Robinson, and he got picked up by the Ravens. So, I mean, they had some opportunities there. There were some people out there. They could have made a trade. I mean, Jalen Reagor got traded. Did Mims ever get traded? I don't think he did, right?
I don't think he did, but Chenault got traded.
Chenault got traded.
So, I mean, there's been movement and rumblings about people becoming available, but what cost? I mean, like, Brian, are you concerned about the wide receiver room as kind of we are a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know how you can't be. Just because we have one proven commodity, and that's Amari Cooper. The other guys, I think obviously the Browns are hoping that they can turn into something, but they're young, and obviously we're not going to see it in preseason because with that vanilla game plan, they're not going to show anything. We kind of learned that Mitchell Schwartz, and there I go again, Mitchell. Take a drink. Anthony Schwartz is just maybe not going to turn into anything. I mean, unless he can get out of his own head and learn how to catch the football without getting the yips. But these other guys, it's just going to take the regular season to see how they react to live action. And preseason is not going to get them ready for it. Practices might a little bit, but they're just going to have to be thrown into the fire and see how they react. And, you know, the wide receivers in the NFL, it's such a saturated position. I think there's somebody that we'll be able to find out there to bring in, and just in case it's just an abomination.
Yeah. All right. Now, the other question marks. Christian McCaffrey is healthy. Baker Mayfield's healthy. All right. There's going to be a lot of coming out of that backfield with those two. All right. Defensive tackles. They're young. They're unproven. Everything else. Normally, we see Christian McCaffrey play for about 4 games, get injured, and then he's out the rest of the season. But this year, he's healthy. We got to play him the first game. We don't know what's going to happen. And Christian McCaffrey, when he is on the field, he is a difference maker. He is a true dynamite difference maker. How would you feel about Christian McCaffrey going up against this defensive line and how everything's going?
It's interesting. You know, they're not going to use him like, I mean, it's not like he's a bruising back. They're not going to run him through the tackles a ton. So I'm not really like worried about like the interior as much. It's going to be more on like the linebacking core, right? Like JOK and anybody in that, Walker, you know, whoever they have out there. To run this guy down, right? Like, it's going to be on them, I think, more than anything. Now, like, I did a deep dive kind of on this offense, right? Like, here's the thing with the Carolina offense. The Browns are kind of at a disadvantage, right? Okay, so Joe Brady was their OC last year. They fired him. They hired Ben McAdoo. Then they bring in Mayfield, and you've got McAdoo and Mayfield. And there's no book out on them, right? Like nobody knows what they're gonna run really together. So I kind of did a deep dive. I did an article and a show on it last night on what McAdoo runs. And is he the kind of guy that will, like, let's be honest, like Stefanski tried to make it easy for Baker, right? Like Stefanski, heavy personnel, right? 13, 12 personnel, good run game, bruising run game, lots of play action, right? And that's where Baker thrived. McAdoo is like the polar opposite. Like in his time in New York, he is a spread it out, shotgun, straight true drop back passer. So like that's what he had with Eli Manning. That's what he had when he was the QB coach with, Aaron Rodgers. So like, is that what he's going to ask of Baker Mayfield? I hope so, because, a lot of what the Browns did was take away, half the field for Mayfield, and he didn't have to do like real complex progressions and protections in the pocket, and he never threw for a ton of volume, right? But that's kind of what McAdoo has done in the past. So my interest is to see, something's got to give here, right? Like, we saw, like, it's basically he's a McCarthy disciple. So what the Giants ran with Eli Manning and McAdoo as their OC and then head coach was like a watered-down version of what McCarthy ran, right? And then he was even the QB coach with McCarthy, or a consultant with McCarthy last year in Dallas. So he's kind of followed him around most of his NFL career, except for when he was in charge in New York. So going back and looking at that, it's like, is this guy going to come in and look at Baker Mayfield and be like, here's what I believe in and here's what I've had all my success with my whole career. Let me just throw that out the window and install, teach, and call a totally different offense. unlikely, right? Probably more than anything, it's just going to be a tweaked version of what he's always run. So that's what I expect. I expect them to put more on Baker Mayfield than the Browns did. I expect them to, expect him to be a true drop back passer and work the intermediate and the short pass game, and they're going to feed CMC. And it's not like, if it wasn't Matt Rule, right? If it was somebody that had some job security, you would almost treat McCaffrey like, let's treat him with kid gloves. But what does Matt Rule have to lose?
Yeah,
his job's on the line. He's got to win. He's going to use him as much as he needs to, right? So, it's this offenses will be interesting. Like the Browns don't really know what to expect. Probably they probably did similar work to what I did, and they're probably saying, "Hey, it's going to be, McAdoo, version 3 here with Baker Mayfield, with a little bit of this and that maybe helps Mayfield along in this process." It'll be interesting to see how successful it is. Like, if you're Joe Woods in the Browns defense, you have this goal in mind, in my opinion. Knowing Baker Mayfield the way the Browns do. And this is what Joe Woods' philosophy is anyways, right? Don't give up the big play. Make them work the ball down the field. 10 play drives, 12 play drives. Can Mayfield be patient enough to take what the defense is giving him, throw to the check down, not try to squeeze it in a window downfield? He's going to be super hyped up, right? We know that. Like, is he going to be patient enough to take what's there and work the ball down the field on a long 10, 12, 13, 14 play drive and score without turning it over, without forcing it in somewhere because he's hyped up and he's trying to do too much? I don't know. I would like to bet that with our secondary and our defense, forcing him to work the ball down the field like that, maybe you turn him over once or twice. And I think you're in good position if you can do that.
Bri, is there anything about this matchup against Carolina that you find interesting or kind of concerns to you?
I think something that's maybe going under the radar or maybe untalked about a little bit is just how good this Carolina defense is. I know all the attention goes to Baker and his revenge game and Christian McCaffrey coming back from injury and how's Jacoby Brissett going to do. But this defense is the real deal. They're top 5, top 10. I think they're just as good as the Browns. So I kind of look for it to be a low-scoring game, and typically whoever wins the turnover battle in low-scoring games kind of wins the game. So I hope we come out on the right side of that. Maybe we can turn Baker over a couple times, maybe get a fumble or something, and just run the clock out after that.
Okay. So Lawrence texted me about our fantasy draft. We might have to push it back about a few minutes, bud. Just a few, because she's got volleyball and she doesn't get off until 8, so we might have to push it back like 10 minutes. Just to make sure everybody.
We can start 8:15, 8:30.
That's fine. All right. So with that being said, you giggle over there with your fantasy draft that I had to. How did I get the first pick, anyways? That's some BS. I don't like the first pick, but
you're complaining about the first pick?
Yes, I don't like the first pick. I like other people deciding, and then
Who complains about the first pick?
Everybody does.
No.
Yeah, they do.
I would have taken the first pick. Who'd you pick?
Sure.
Josh Allen. I went straight quarterback right out of the gate, and I just
quarterbacks, super flex league. They're flying off the shelf.
For sure.
All right, so with this matchup, all right, we got to get a score. We got to figure out what they are going to do. So, do you, Brad, have a prediction on the score coming up for this game?
The line is 41. Yesterday it was 41. Or the over-under is 41.
Over-under.
The line, it moved today to 2, I think. Or DraftKings has it at 2, plus 2.
So that means Carolina's pretty much just favored because they're at home.
Yeah, basically, like, neutral site would be a pick 'em, right? Yeah. It's kind of the way I look at that. But yeah, no, 40 I'm wrong. 41 and a hook at FanDuel, 42 and a hook at Caesars. Yeah, so yeah, that's the over under right around 41 or 42. You know, their defense is good, right? Like Jeremy Chin is a stud. They added a lot of I mean, like you go through their defense, they have names galore here real quick. But the one thing that they were not able to do last year is stop the run. Like that's kind of their Achilles heel is they can't really stop the run. Now they did do some moving around, so they acquired this, or they're using this Matt Ioannidis guy as kind of a 1 tech, 3 tech. They're going to move him around, but they're depending on him a lot to stop the run. As they moving Derek Brown more to his natural position where he had to kind of play out of position last year to try to stop the run. So, but they're loaded. You know, Brian Burns, as I mentioned, Derek Brown, Yetur Gross Matos from a couple years ago coming out in the draft, Corey Littleton. You know, their corners are good. J.C. Horn, free safety Xavier Woods, Jeremy Chin, Dante Jackson. Is their other cornerback. I mean, Shaq Thompson, their defense is loaded, right? But I do think you might be able to run the ball on them. But the problem is going to become, once again, can you throw enough to run the ball? Can you throw enough to loosen up that box a little bit? And that's kind of what I'm looking at. You know, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it'll be kind of a dog fight. I actually think the Browns are going to win. I know we're 121-1 in openers. The last time they won an opener was 2004. I was there. Bowler was their quarterback, and they beat the Ravens at home. I was in the stadium that day. So
Jeff Garcia.
So long time, and I mean, like this opener thing is insane, right? Like this is like insane that you can go that many years without winning an opener. This has got to be the biggest opener since '99, at least in my opinion.
And
or is that hyperbole?
I was going to say last year against Kansas City, though. I mean, that was
okay.
I mean, that was. I mean, it was a great matchup. I mean, were we supposed? I mean, we could have won, but I mean, it just, you know, yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's just so much on the line here, as far as like, you know, a win here for the Browns is like 2 for the Browns. Like this win would be so much, and then
especially for the perception of all the media and everything around it, because
the organization.
I mean, if they win, then that means guess what? We've won. We wash our hands of Baker. It's done. It's over with. We don't have to talk about it anymore. But
the entire world is rooting for the Panthers.
Yeah, but if Baker goes out, beats the Browns, it's like, guess what we got to talk about for the next 11 weeks? Hey, did they really screw up this trade? Like, and then there it goes. So, yes, the Browns need this win. Do you have a score in mind?
Yeah, which isn't really. Let me say this: it's not really a fair. Like if he comes out and beats him, it's not like it's a bad trade just because he beats you in one game.
No, but I mean that's what everybody.
That's what they're gonna say.
Yeah, well, he wanted out. He didn't want to be in Cleveland. It's not like we had the choice and we just chose to trade him. He was going to be cancer in the locker room if you kept him around.
Well, Brian, who wouldn't be cancer in the locker room when you trade?
I'm not trying to justify. I'm just telling it like it is. The facts of it.
I think he wanted out whatever the reason. Anyways. I think he wanted out before they made a play for Watson.
Yeah, that could be too.
Him and Stefanski not getting along.
Oh yeah, I mean there was beef behind the scenes, and you know most people don't know about. And I get it. It's just it's a narrative that will, just pretty much hang over Cleveland like a black cloud until this first week is done. Once this first week is done, if the Browns win, starts to open up a little bit. All right, we can move on from this. If they lose, the cloud's still there for a little bit until we can kind of relieve. Like it's just weird. It's weird playing in week 1 especially after him going to Carolina, barely picking up the offense and everything. It's like, why week 1? Like, we can anticipate like week 8, but nope, right out of the gate, we're getting you right out of the gate. Like,
He looks good too. He looks good. He looks healthy. Um,
well, we got to
I,
get your score on paper because Brian's writing down our scores because we're having a little. Brian and I always have a little write off on this. We always put a little something on the side, and I think we always put a bottle of whiskey and I think pizza, isn't it, Brian?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's what we've done in the past.
So that's what we kind of do for this. So
okay.
and normally I go with the guest, but since you picked Cleveland,
Hold on. You want my score though, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they win 27-17.
Sweet. Take
Mark
that.
It down. Mark it down on the side, Brian.
Yep.
Brian,
It has to happen at some point, right? Like this has to change at some point. I think Baker throws 2 touchdowns, and I think he throws 2 picks. And Browns win 27-17. Run game looks good. Njoku has a big day, and they win.
All right, Brian, what about you there, big fella?
Yeah, like Brad said, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. I think maybe all of our excitement throughout the preseason kind of comes to fruition in week number 1. And I think the defense plays their ass off. I think, our defensive line, our secondary get after it. Baker Mayfield doesn't have a whole lot of friends in those rooms, so they've got that extra motivation. So I think Cade York comes through. I'm saying 19-13.
19-13. Listen to that.
19-13, 4 field goals.
Now, normally I go with our guest most of the time. I can't do it on this one. I think our pass game is broken. I think they're going to do what Pittsburgh did, line up the box and just pretty much just feast and see what happens. I picked the Panthers to win 21-17. And it hurts me to say that, but I'm with you guys. I think it's a muddy game, muddy game. But I think McCaffrey is going to do just enough to get the Panthers to win because past couple of years, if you haven't watched, the Panthers actually came out and won the first few weeks right out of the gate, and they've been solid. They've been ready to go. I don't know if this pass game is ready to go, but I do know the one person that I'm actually looking forward to in this pass game, and it's not Njoku. I think Harrison Bryant might have a big game this game. I think they're going to kind of do a more run with both tight ends, and I think Harrison Bryant's going to come out with a few catches and maybe a touchdown out of this. I think he's going to have a good day, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it certainly could go that way, right? Like it could be ugly. There's no question. I think one advantage that the Browns have is that Stefanski is a much better NFL coach than Matt Rule. And I think that he will outcoach him and out-scheme him. And he's going to have to offensively for this. Whoa.
That's all right, Brad.
That was like, he literally disappeared.
I know.
Like it was like a magic trick. He was there and then.
For as big of a fella he is, he has light feet.
That was impressive. I think Stefanski has to scheme it up, get some guys open, take the shots when they're there, and I think he'll do that. And he shuts up some of the naysayers a little bit that have kind of come down hard on him for last year. He had a quarterback that wouldn't do what he asked him to do. Jacoby Brissett will do what he asked him to do.
Well, he has no other choice.
What?
He has no other choice. Let's be
Well, why would you not want to do what your coach asked
Oh,
you to do?
I understand that, but I mean, like I'm still chalking up to like last year with the injuries and everything else. It was just a crap year. I understand the turmoil behind the scenes. It is. I just move on. We're all past it. It's done. It's done. It's over with. Just
Yeah, so he didn't have a quarterback that would deliver the ball when he got guys open, and so I just think preparation wise for this team, this defense, and I think that Stefanski has them schemed up, ready to go, and Brissett has an efficient day, not a spectacular day, but an efficient day, and they win. Yeah, so now, do I think they're gonna be fantastic or anything like that for this 11 games? No, but can they go like 5-6 and stay in it? Yeah, I think they can.
all
5-6, 6-5, maybe if the ball bounces the right way for these 11 games. But I do think that this is one of the games they can win. That if you put the Panthers in a position where they can't ride all this momentum and all of this energy that they're coming in with, right, because of Baker Mayfield, or if you just knock that off path a little bit, I think you have a chance to beat them in Carolina, which would be quite the feat, because I think they have a decent team. I mean, like, they have a team that could go 500 too, I think. So this is no easy game at all. Like, this is really tough to go into Carolina and beat this team.
Yeah.
But I think Stefanski's a better coach, and I think he'll have them ready.
Brad, I can't thank you enough for joining us. We love you.
That's it.
That's it. Well, we have Fat Boy
Still got half
Tuesday.
hour left.
We got to get on. We got to get on to a pancake. All right. So is pancakes bread? Real quick.
I guess, kind of, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we had some people say no. So.
Well, I don't know. Is it bread? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what we're about to get into here.
How are you gonna figure that out? Who determines that?
We don't know who determines it, but Isaac Rochelle brought it up, and I thought it was actually really cool that he brought it up, because you can actually put in, like, what is a crepe? Is a crepe a tortilla? Like, it's just mashful, because you don't.
Who gives a shit?
Well, you got to think about stuff like that. We're fat people.
Why?
Here because we love food. I mean, if pancakes bread, can you make sandwiches out of it?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they make a McGriddle.
I mean,
that's like a pancake.
But
Sure.
I mean, is it considered bread, or is it just a novelty item?
It's bread.
I don't know about that.
What are the contents that make up a pancake? Flour,
and milk, pretty much.
milk, egg.
Yeah.
Isn't that what's in bread?
I guess. I don't know. I'm just spitballing over here on this side. It got weird over here. We started talking about it, and I was like, all right, well, we love pancakes. But you sit there.
So why do you care if it's bread or not?
I don't. It's a topic to talk about.
There's carbs in it, right?
Yeah, it's delicious.
It's it's like a form of bread. What else would it be? A cake? A pastry? It's not a pastry.
It might be a pastry. Why wouldn't it be a pastry?
It's not.
Do you not?
It's not a pastry.
Do you not put drizzles on pastries or croissants?
Sure, you do, but it's like it's a mainstream breakfast item. It's not like a little dessert. It's like it's a core meal. It's a core part of breakfast. Waffles, pancakes, French toast, bread.
Okay. You heard it here. Brad said it is bread.
I mean, right?
I'm
what
just-
the hell else is it?
I don't know, but half of Twitter said no. So, I mean, I put the Twitter poll out, and I had half the Twitter poll say no.
let me go on the record fully here and say that I don't give a crap either way. But it seems like it's bread.
Okay. Seems like it's bread. Okay. I get that. I get that. All right. You can catch Brad on All Eyes on Cleveland.
It's a type of batter bread. Yeah.
Okay. Craig Foster.
That's what Craig says.
Of course, Craig would say that. And it's Brett, Jared. It is not Brett. It's bread. There's a difference, Jose. Jose likes to talk into his phone a little differently than we do. So,
what?
Jose is one of our friends that we work with, and he does the talk to text. So
my wife does it, and it drives me insane. She does it, and I never know what the hell she's saying.
Well,
it's ridiculous. It's the most annoying thing in the world. It's like, first of all, you look down at your text messages, and it's like 7 paragraphs long, because when you're talking, you don't realize how much you're saying. And I'm like, who wants to read a text message that's that long? Just get to the point, like 3 words, like, be there in 5 minutes, getting this. Like, it's this long dialogue of nonsense, like, and then half of it doesn't make sense because you're talking into your phone and it interprets it wrong. So it says, like, you went to the moon to get milk or whatever. It's crazy, right? I mean, it's insane. It drives me nuts. It's a huge pet peeve of mine, talking into your phone to text message.
Well, that's the world we live in now, Brad.
I can't believe you're kicking me off the show already. This is crazy.
Well, you've been on for 40 minutes.
What?
I'm sorry. We were wanting to do an NFL preview with me and Bri.
Yeah, we did it. It's cool.
Okay.
Right. That's it. That's all you need from me. See you later.
I love you, brother.
See you guys. Thanks, Bri.
Thanks, Brad. Have a good one.
Yes, Brad on All Eyes on Cleveland and on the Browns Wire. Please check out his stuff. He's got great stuff. They have he's also a Blue Wire, and all his content you can actually find on ours too, because I try to retweet it whenever I can, because all his stuff is absolutely amazing. I really truly appreciate your time, Brad. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That is Brad Ward from All Eyes on Cleveland. Can't thank him enough. I love Brad so much. And his insight, especially for the Browns, is absolutely amazing, especially when we're talking about the wide receivers and everything else. Bri, we got to get into a little bit with the NFL preview. I mean, you wanted to do this. We got to go through the NFL. So let's go with our brand right now. We got to go with a little bit of AFC North. Okay, big guy.
Yeah.
You there? Okay, I just want to make sure you're there. Okay. All right. So AFC North, we are going to get into who is your top dog in the AFC North.
It's got to be the Browns. I mean, I've never really been a huge believer of this saying, Cleveland against the world. But it's nobody wants to see you win. The national media hates you. The other owners hate you for giving Deshaun Watson all that guaranteed money. Nobody wants to see you have any success this year. So hopefully that galvanizes everybody and they come together. But yeah, I mean, everyone's going to be throwing bouquets at Joe Burrow and the Steelers as always, and Lamar Jackson. So they're going to be crapping on the Browns. They won't give them any credit. So you got to come together and rise above all that.
All right. So give me 1 through 4, especially just for the AFC North. After this, we'll kind of piece together the rest of the NFL preview. But 1 is Browns. Number 2.
Oh, where do I think they're going to finish?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I have the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to win the North.
Bengals 1.
Yeah, I put the Bengals 1. I'd probably honestly put the Ravens 2, and then the Browns 3, and the Steelers 4. Just because the Browns have so much going against them with Jacoby Brissett. When you're hoping for 5 and 6 finish in the first 11 games, it's going to be hard to finish, with 10 wins or 11 wins or something that these other teams are capable of. So, I mean, they can still sneak into the playoffs as the 3rd best team in the AFC North. but right now I just can't predict them to be above the Bengals or the Ravens.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you, except I got a little flip flop. I think the Ravens, I think they're above Cincinnati because I think last year injuries hampered them horribly. I mean, they lost all their running backs. The only thing that scares me about the Ravens is their wide receiver core. But now that they're starting to get healthy running backs back, Lamar's back, I think they're poised to go to the AFC North again. And I think the Bengals finish second. I think actually the Browns tie with the Bengals if everything goes well. And then Steelers fourth. But, AFC North is so hard to predict because they're all, Steelers under Tomlin have never had a losing season, I don't think, right? It's either been.
No, not that I know of.
So you add that in. So you got to at least go 10-7 to do any kind of damage here in the AFC North. And that's going to be hard to do.
Right.
All right, let's go AFC East. All right. That's Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, and Jags.
Jets.
Jags are south.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Jags
who
are
takes
south.
that division? Got to be the Bills, right?
Right. It's hard to pick against the Bills in that division. I mean, I'm not a big believer in the Dolphins. I think the Patriots, with their offensive woes, not having an offensive coordinator is kind of crazy to me. So, yeah, it's the Bills to have. What do you think?
I am going to go. I think it's the Bills to have, but I'm kind of different than you. I think Miami might be a little more sneaky than a lot of people think. I think they might be a team that might catch the back end of a wild card to get in. I think they're right on the borderline talent-wise. They went for Tyreek Hill. They got Tua still. They're still trying to figure out Tua, but they got a decent running game now. Offensive line has been a little bit better. Defense has actually been somewhat decent. Miami might be close to the point where they are out of the doldrum and right in the middle ranks where they might get a 9-8 and sneak in on a wild card, or a 10-7 and sneak in on a wild card. Depends on how the ball bounces for them. But I think they might be right there at that point in time because I don't see the Patriots falling off that much, but I see the Patriots around 500. The 9-8. Like I see Miami and the Patriots kind of the same boat. And then I see Buffalo. And then, let's be honest, this is Jets. So I don't know what to expect from the Jets. AFC South, which is Indianapolis, which still kind of boggles me with Indianapolis being in the South. They should be, anyways. Indianapolis, Houston, Jags, and
Texans. Texans.
Yep. No, Titans.
I got Titans, Texans,
Yeah.
Jags, and Colts. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going with the Colts, I guess. I'm not super convinced that they can top the Titans. Let's not forget the Titans were the number one seed in the AFC last year without Derrick Henry for half the season. So they're a damn good team. I just don't know if they can keep that pace up for a second season. And I think the Colts have a very complete roster. And with Matty Ice coming in, maybe he gives them a spark. He might be, unless he's totally washed, he might be the best quarterback they've had since Andrew Luck. So, yeah, I like him a lot.
I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Colts also. I think I know the Titans got Derrick Henry, but JT has proven to be a force once you're – and, what's nice about this is there's complementary passing now. You can do the play action with JT and actually hit, Paris Campbell. Is Paris Campbell still there? I think he is. You got Paris Campbell. Yeah. You got Alec Pierce. You still got Pittman there. Like, you have some really young wide receivers that you can actually mold. And also, this is kind of a breath of fresh air for Matty Ice because he's behind a decent offensive line for first time in a very long time. So for him to sit back here and just start picking people off, I think that's my sleeper possibly for AFC Championship is that team right there.
Wow.
And the only reason why I say it is JT with the running game they have. But Matty Ice, if Matty Ice can catch his second wind after being in, Atlanta, going through all that stuff, and then coming out on the backside of it, I really do think they can make some noise in the AFC. So now we got the AFC West and the juggernaut that is the AFC West. So you got the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and Raiders. God, why do I always see, like, I understand they're in the West, but it's like I think Kansas City more central. It just blows my mind, Brian. But this is probably one of the toughest conferences to get through, especially with the quarterbacks that are there. You got Herbert, you got Wilson, you got Patty Mahomes, and you got Derek Carr. So, Brian, who do you see coming out of this AFC West?
It's hard to think or to bet against Patrick Mahomes just because he's had so much success already in his career. And it seems like whenever he gets the ball last, he wins that game 90% of the time. So it's hard to go against him. Maybe I'm stupid for doing it, but I'll go Chargers. I think the improvements they made on their defense with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. They still have Bosa and Derwin James. And it's one more year. They pretty much get a lot of their offense back. They have a up-and-coming offensive line, I think, and Justin Herbert is, maybe a dark horse pick to win MVP this year with the type of numbers he put up last year. And one more year, one more season in that system. So give me the Chargers.
Brian, I'm with you, but I got a sneaky second. I think Kansas City might take a step back, and I really think it might be a bigger step than what a lot of people think. Kelsey's getting up there in age. They got a lot of young wide receivers, but I really do think the acquisition of Russell Wilson in Denver with that young wide receiver core, with that running back that they got with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon as a tandem back, I think Denver also might be right there in the screaming match. And I think the Chargers take it outright, but I believe Denver's going to be right on their heels.
Sure. Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch. I mean, those games are going to be a ton of fun. They're just going to be slinging the ball all over the place. So I can't wait. Give me more.
All right. So, Brian, we also know that the NFC, which, you're going to have to walk me through that one because I really don't pay attention to the NFC because it's the NFC. But the NFC North, we got the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Bears. I did get that one right.
There you go.
Brian, out of the NFC North, who do you think's coming out of that one?
It sounds like it might be a little hot takey, but I just think Aaron Rodgers, I mean, eventually he's going to have to take a step back. He just doesn't have a whole lot of help other than, a couple pretty good running backs. Hopefully he'll get his left tackle back, who's a stud, but he doesn't have anybody to throw to. And he'll still be great, but I think maybe this is the year that Minnesota overtakes him.
All right. I still think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think this might be his last year atop of that mountain. But he's also got to get a lot of help. His weapons are gone. He's got brand new wide receivers to throw to, and we'll find out how elite he is. So he's been elite for I don't know how long. My Bears, remember what happened? Yes, it was a preseason game. What was that?
I do remember. I was actually at the Bears game this year and last year. How many times did Justin Fields get sacked? 8, 9?
I think it was. It was really
eight sacks. Yeah.
When
really Myles Garrett was actually playing.
Funny Bears fan comes back at his sister and starts talking crap about the Bears. He just likes to get a little dig in anywhere he can.
Oh, he was waiting all show for this.
I know he was. All right, so we got the NFC East Giants. Well, it came the Commanders, right? Eagles,
right,
and Cowboys. All right. Who do you see coming out of that one?
I got the Cowboys. I don't love saying that. I think maybe they're not going to be great, but they just play in such a weak division. And honestly, everyone's so high on the Eagles and their roster, top to bottom. I don't really buy into it. I think they're pretty good, but I think they were like, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they were the second best team on Madden, which
I think
is
so.
just crazy to me. So everyone's super high on the Eagles. I mean, Cowboys won it last year. I think Jalen Hurts is pretty limited in what he can do. So give me the Cowboys again.
I'm going to go with a sneaky one here, and I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders.
No way, Carson Wentz.
The only reason why they got Scary Terry, they got weapons on
Oh
the
yeah,
outside.
they got the Ohio State guys. Chase
Oh, yes,
Young.
they do. Well, they got Chase Young.
There
Scary
you go.
Terry. They got
Braxton
who's he
Miller, JT Barrett.
That's all right,
Sure.
right. Just don't be a hater. It's okay. right.
I
All
see.
right, we got
I
NFC
see your method, your madness.
Yeah, I know. NFC South, we got the Saints, Bucks, Panthers, and
Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Falcons.
that's the other one. They're not relevant, so Falcons are going to finish last. So,
Yeah,
Ryan, give me your top one. Obviously, it's the Bucks, right?
right. Unless Tom Brady gets hurt, then it's wide open. If Brady gets hurt, it's wide open. Or if he just falls off a cliff, then maybe the Saints have a chance or the Panthers have a chance.
You know what I'm curious to see is the Saints, because we got to see a little bit of glimpse with that offense with Jameis Winston, and then he got hurt, and they were actually doing really good with that. I kind of just want to see it play out, see what happens. NFC West, we got the Rams, we got Cardinals, we got
Rams, Cardinals, Seattle, and Niners.
Well, one of those teams doesn't count anymore, so Seattle's out of it. They're trying to get a top quarterback, so they're out of it. San Francisco's having quarterback problems like you wouldn't believe. Rams, defending Super Bowl champions, can they do it again? And Arizona paid their boy Kyler Murray, and D-Hop is suspended for, 6 games? So who do you have coming out of this one, bud?
Even though I think he's vastly overrated because he hasn't played football in 2 years, and last time he played was in Division II. I'll go with the Niners. I think Kyle Shanahan has got a finely tuned machine down there with the running game and the defense, and you just need your quarterback to not make too many mistakes like we saw with Garoppolo. So, yeah, I think maybe the Rams have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover.
I'm going to go with the Cods on this one. I think with Kyler Murray getting the contract that he got, they got James Conner, who actually did do a good running game. I think they can pull something out because last few years, don't forget, they've been 7-0, 8-1, 9-1. They just faltered at the end. They get a hot start. So they can get a hot start and keep it again. I think they can do it and pull it through. All right. Which one am I missing now?
No, that was it. You got it.
That was it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. Look at that, Bri. I did it. How about that?
Heck yeah.
All right. So let's get into now, Bri, I got to get your opinion on this. It is Fat Boy Tuesday. Pancakes bread. The reason why I brought it up is Isaac Rochelle actually did put it out on Twitter, and he asked a question, and you sit there and think about it, and yes, it technically can be considered bread. It really can be. But when you think of bread, you think of like French toast. Like, that's bread. Like, it's hard to define what a pancake, a waffle, that can kind of come into it, a crepe, that can come into it, is. So, Bri, do you think a pancake is bread?
Let me start out my answer by saying I got about 10 minutes before I got to get out of here for the fantasy football draft. So since you and Brad covered it, I'm just going to say I believe it's bread. Yeah, I mean, like he said, a griddle, you got bread. If cornbread is bread, if biscuits are bread, then I believe pancakes and bread also.
All right. Okay. I'll agree with you. I can't believe Twitter said no. I mean, it was
Twitter's a
like
wild place. Not a whole
50
lot of common sense on Twitter.
it was 57-43. No.
I think some people just want to be contrarians.
Oh, of course. It's Twitter. I mean, what are you going to do? All right, Bryce. So let's get into our fun top three that you picked out for us. And I can't wait to do it because we were supposed to do it a couple weeks ago. Our top three college traditions that we like. All right. And I'll go first because I know you got a fantasy football draft you got to get to. So my number three is the wave. They're in Iowa when they turn back to the Children's Hospital, do the wave to the hospital and all the kids. That is Iowa, right?
Yes, it is. So do they like wave to the,
Yeah,
or is it the,
No, the fourth quarter, when it comes to like the fourth quarter at halftime, the whole stadium turns and waves at all the kids in the Children's Hospital there.
Very
Which
cool.
is absolutely amazing. Gives those kids a boost, and I love every bit of it. My number two, which I'm sticking to the Big Ten, Wisconsin, fourth quarter, jump around, baby. When they start going nuts, that place goes absolutely insane. And my number one, and Brian, this might get you a little bit, the run down the hill. Clemson.
Oh, okay. Touching the rock.
Right
is that where they touch the rock?
Running down the hill. Now, honorable mention, and the only reason why it's an honorable mention is watching it when they played Ohio State, Virginia Tech with Enter Sandman coming into the. How awesome is that? That is just
love it. Love it.
Unreal. So, Brian, give me your top three.
Well, I'll give you kind of cockamamie way to do it. You just mentioned it. So Enter Sandman was my number two. Okay. Yeah, just the way the whole place gets jazzed up, and that's like the perfect song. That build up to it is just unbelievable. So Enter Sandman, Virginia Tech, my number two. My number three, you'll find a common thread between all mine. They all have to do with music. They all have to do with songs. Number three is LSU. Calling Baton Rouge. I don't even know when they do it, but I've seen videos of it. It looks pretty cool. And my number one is down in Alabama, even though, it has nothing to do with them being, a great college football team. Just Alabama singing Dixieland Delight. Something that just the hairs on my arm just kind of stand up. I want to go there. I want to experience that for myself.
Bri, I forgot one. And I don't know how I forgot one because you and I, one of these days, are going to drive down there. We're going to go to a game. And we're going to sit there. And we're going to go, country road, take me home. Country road.
Is that what they do in West Virginia?
Yes. And Brad Paisley has been there to do it with them, which is absolutely amazing. So, yes, I completely forgot about country road. They always sing Country Road down there for West Virginia games. So and it'll bring goosebumps to you because it is players, everybody involved singing it. It is unreal down there. And it's one of their traditions that is absolutely insane. Now, we have our traditions with our college teams. Like, Ohio State's got Mirror Lake, but we also got the Seven Nation Army when we get ready to kick off. You guys have got the jumping to touch a flag from the Michigan boosters, athletic boosters. Sure. So everybody's kind of got their like little stamp on everything. But yeah, these are the ones that kind of stand out to both me and you. And, I'm glad you brought this up because there's a lot of traditions out there that a lot of people look at and it just kind of blows their mind that, that can be a tradition, but it's something really nice and special for that school and that time. And like like Penn State with their whiteout, Penn State doing their whiteout. Absolutely.
Tennessee with the checkerboards. That's pretty awesome to see.
I mean, you have different schools that have different stuff, and it's just absolutely amazing that they do it. And we love it. We love college football, so that's why we talk about it.
Traditions like that, I think separate college football from the NFL. I mean, the NFL is king, but college football has those traditions that the NFL just will never have.
I mean, you got to factor in like the one tradition that we didn't even talk about. What about the biggest cocktail party?
Sure. Florida, Georgia. I mean, it seems like every school has something like that. down in Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, with the trees and everything else. Oh yeah.
Yep, tailgate.
All right, Brian, we gotta get you off here. You gotta go draft. What are you drafting tonight? What are you
Well,
like 8?
I don't know yet. It kind of randomized. That's how ours is going to be. Also, it randomizes an hour before. I'll try to see if I can push ours back to 8:15 for Lauren. Is that good, or should I do 8:30?
8:15 should be good. I'll let her know.
8:15.
We push it
Okay.
back for her, and she'll be okay.
Do you want to
Brian,
do your trivia?
Oh yes, the trivia. How many no hitters has Nolan Ryan pitched?
For some reason, the number that stuck out to me was 9, and you said it blew your mind, so that would kind of blow my mind if he pitched 9.
It is not 9. It is 7. He had 7 no hitters,
Wow.
Brian. 7
Impressive.
no hitters. Leads the league in
impressive.
strikeouts. Everything. Like he was just one of a kind.
Yeah.
And even like there's another one in there with Cal Ripken and the Iron Man playing starting as many games as he did. It's unreal. We'll go over that list next week. But
Cool.
So next week we're going to have your Cleveland headlines. We are going to start our fantasy football, and we'll let you know who won between Cleveland and everybody's going to be watching that game. But between Fatty and Bry. All right. I am that fat guy, Big Bry. God bless him, please.
God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate everything. Thank you, Brad Ward, for joining us. Go ahead, Bry. I got the rest of this. It's all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brad Ward. Catch him on All Eyes on Cleveland. Catch him on the Browns Wire and Blue Wire. Amazing. I love having Brad on. He's one of our dear friends, and we love him so much. Other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for doing everything. Please like and subscribe. Join us. I believe October 9th, we are going to be at West 3rd and Summit for the Mac for Mutts, because I will be probably the judge again for the mac and cheese contest. So that would be the Chargers game, I believe. But I got to talk with Big Brian and see if Big Brian's going with me. But thank you guys so much for watching. We are Legal Him in the Face. We are definitely uncorked, unloaded, and we're out. Thanks. See you.